Emma was the kind of person other people admired. At 38, she was a senior marketing director at a fast-growing tech company. She led big teams, hit aggressive targets, and was known for being reliable under pressure. Her calendar was always full, her inbox was always managed, and she rarely said no to anything. On the outside, she looked like the picture of success, organized, driven, and emotionally steady. But inside, Emma was running on fumes. She woke up every morning with a low-level sense of dread. Her mind would immediately start running through everything she needed to do that day. Even on weekends, she couldn't fully relax. She would lie on the couch, scrolling through her phone, half watching a show, while mentally preparing for Monday. Sleep had become difficult. She would fall asleep from exhaustion around midnight, only to wake up at 3 a.m. with her heart racing and her mind spinning through worst-case scenarios. She told herself this was normal. "This is what ambitious people do," she would say. "This is the price of doing well." Then, one Tuesday afternoon, something strange happened. Emma was in an important meeting, presenting to senior leadership, when she suddenly couldn't remember what she was saying. Her mind went completely blank. She stood there in silence for what felt like an eternity, while her colleagues looked at her with concern. She managed to recover and finish the presentation, but something inside her had shifted. For the first time, she felt genuinely scared. That night, she sat on her kitchen floor and cried for almost an hour. She had been pushing for so long that she had forgotten what it felt like to not be pushing. Her body had finally said, "I'm done." Emma took 2 weeks off work. At first, she tried to fix herself. She researched productivity systems, bought new supplements, and made detailed plans to get back on track. But nothing worked. The more she tried to force herself to feel better, the worse she felt. It wasn't until she stopped trying to fix herself that things slowly began to change. She started seeing a therapist who specialized in high achievers and burnout. For the first time, someone explained to her that what she was experiencing wasn't just stress, it was nervous system dysregulation. Her body had been stuck in a chronic fight-or-flight state for years. The constant drive, the overworking, the inability to rest, these weren't signs of strength. They were signs that her nervous system no longer knew how to feel safe. This was a difficult truth for Emma to accept. She had always prided herself on being strong and capable. The idea that her body was protecting her by staying on high alert felt like a personal failure. But slowly, she began to understand something important. Her anxiety wasn't random. It was her nervous system doing exactly what it had been trained to do: stay alert, stay productive, and never let anything fall through the cracks. The problem was that this state had become her default. Her body no longer knew how to downshift into rest and recovery. Emma began doing small, uncomfortable things. She started leaving work at 6 p.m. without finishing everything. She practiced saying, "I'll get to that tomorrow," without guilt. She began going for slow walks in the evening with no podcast or phone, just movement and silence. She started noticing when her chest felt tight or her jaw was clenched, and she would pause and take slower breaths. None of these changes felt dramatic at first, but over several months, something remarkable happened. Her sleep improved. Her mind stopped racing as aggressively at night. She found herself laughing more easily. She started enjoying time with her husband and friends instead of just enduring it while thinking about work. Most surprisingly, her performance at work didn't collapse. It actually became more sustainable. She made better decisions because her brain was no longer running on constant stress.
The biggest shift, however, wasn't external. It was internal. Emma stopped tying her worth to how much she could handle. She realized she had spent years believing that if she just worked harder, stayed more organized, or pushed through a little more, she would eventually feel okay. What she discovered instead was that her nervous system needed something different. It needed safety. It needed rest. It needed proof that she didn't have to earn her right to slow down. She began to understand that high-functioning anxiety often looks like strength from the outside. People praise you for being reliable, driven, and emotionally steady. But internally, it can feel like quietly falling apart while still showing up every day. Emma still works hard. She still cares deeply about her career, but she no longer treats her body like an enemy she has to push through. She treats it like a system that needs to feel safe in order to function well. These days, when someone tells her she's so strong for handling so much, she smiles and says, "I used to think that too. Now I'm trying to be strong enough to rest." Because she finally learned something that changed everything. You can be highly capable and still need to slow down. You can be successful and still be running on empty. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is stop proving your worth through exhaustion and start proving to your nervous system that it's finally safe to let go. High-functioning anxiety often hides behind achievement and reliability. Many people don't realize they're burned out until their body forces them to stop. True recovery isn't about pushing through or optimizing more. It's about teaching your nervous system that it's safe to rest, set boundaries, and stop earning your worth through constant output. Emma still works hard. She still cares deeply about doing good work, but she no longer treats her body like something she has to push through or override. She treats it like a system that needs to feel safe in order to function well. The biggest shift wasn't that she became less ambitious, it was that she stopped believing her worth depended on how much she could endure. She realized she had spent years quietly proving to everyone, including herself, that she could handle it all. What she eventually discovered was that the most important person she needed to prove something to was her own nervous system. And what it needed wasn't more proof of her strength, it needed evidence that she was finally willing to rest. These days, when people tell her how impressive it is that she does it all, she smiles and says, "I used to think that was strength. Now I know real strength is being willing to slow down before your body forces you to." Because she finally learned something that changed everything. You can be highly capable and still need to slow down. You can be successful and still be running on empty. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is stop proving your worth through exhaustion and start proving to your nervous system that it's finally safe to let go. If this story resonated with you, I'd really appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribed to the channel for more stories like this. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever felt like you were fine on the outside, but falling apart on the inside? Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself.